You are standing in the middle of a warm kitchen in your childhood home, and the air smells like savory soup and familiar spices. Your stomach grumbles with hunger because you have just come home from a long day at school where the world felt big and overwhelming. You look at the stove where a pot is bubbling gently, and you ask your mother what is for dinner with a tone of innocent anticipation. She turns to you with a smile that does not quite reach her eyes, and she points a ladle at the pot and tells you to look inside. You step forward and stand on your tiptoes to peer over the metallic rim of the stockpot. That is when your entire universe collapses into a singularity of horror and betrayal that will scar you for the rest of your life. Floating in the broth is the body of the creature that was your best friend. This is not a scene from a horror movie written by a twisted screenwriter in Hollywood. This is a real event that happened recently and was documented by a mother who thought it was entertaining enough to post on the internet for the world to see. Let me paint the picture for you with the microscopic detail that it deserves so you can truly feel the gravity of this emotional crime. For months, this mother had encouraged her to raise a pet chicken from the moment it was just a fragile egg. The children watched with wonder as the shell cracked and a tiny wet life emerged into the world. They named it and they fed it and they built a world around it. They took the chicken out for walks in the green grass of the park, and they had picnics where the chicken sat beside them like a family member. The video footage shows the children laughing and stroking the feathers and looking at this animal with pure, unadulterated love. But then comes the twist that makes your blood run cold. The mother decided that the chicken was inconvenient, or perhaps she just wanted to teach them a brutal lesson about her power. So while the children were away at school learning about arithmetic and kindness, she slaughtered their best friend. She did not just remove the animal, she processed it and cooked it and served it to them. When the children came home and realized what had happened, they did not just cry. They broke down with a primal grief that shook their tiny bodies. They asked her over and if it was real because their brains could not process the cruelty. They could not comprehend that the person who is supposed to protect them from monsters had actually become the monster. But the most terrifying part of this story is not the killing of the animal. The most terrifying part is the editing of the video that the mother posted online. She deliberately spliced together the clips of the children playing happily with the chicken and the clips of them screaming in agony over its death. She added a soundtrack of her own laughter bubbling in the background while her children devastated. This was not a mistake, and this was not a lapse in judgment. This was a calculated exhibition of psychological dominance. She wanted to document the destruction of their innocence, and she wanted an audience to applaud her for it. She treated their trauma as content, and she treated their grief as a punchline. This specific event is a perfect and terrifying window into a phenomenon that millions of people are trying to escape. We are talking about the Narcissistic Personality Disorder parent, or the NPD parent. For these parents, a child is not a separate human being with their own feelings and their own soul. A child is an extension of the parent and a prop in the movie of the parent's life. To the narcissist, the child is an object that exists solely to provide what psychologists call narcissistic supply. This supply can come in the form of admiration and praise and obedience. But what most people do not realize is that the supply can also come in the form of fear and pain and devastation. The mother in this video was not feeding her children because she was worried about their nutrition. She was feeding on their emotions like a vampire feeds on blood. She was deriving a sick sense of superiority from the fact that she held the power of life and death in her hands. She looked at their tears and she did not feel empathy. She felt powerful. She felt like a god who could grant happiness and then snatch it away with the snap of her fingers. This is the trap of the narcissistic family system. You are raised in an environment where your joy is dangerous because it makes you independent. And your pain is encouraged because it makes you dependent and submissive. You might be watching this and thinking that this is an extreme example that has nothing to do with you. But I want you to look closer at the dynamic and ask yourself if it feels familiar. Did you ever have a parent who threw away your favorite toy just to teach you a lesson about cleaning your room? Did you ever have a parent who promised to take you to the park and then canceled at the last minute because you had a tone in your voice? Did you ever have a parent who mocked you when you were crying and told you that you were being too sensitive? These are all variations of the exact same psychological mechanism. It is the mechanism of a mediocre person who has achieved nothing in their own life seeking to feel powerful by crushing someone smaller than them. The mother in the video likely feels powerless in the real world. She might feel ignored by society or unfulfilled in her marriage or average in her career. But in that kitchen with that pot of soup, she was the supreme authority. She was the judge and the jury and the executioner. She finally tasted the intoxicating flavor of absolute control. She sacrificed her children's mental health to get that taste. The children asked her if she really did it, and she laughed. That laugh is the sound of a soul that has been hollowed out and replaced with a black hole of need. She does not see a future where her children stop talking to her. She only sees the present moment where she is the main character and they are the supporting cast who must react to her script. This is the life apocalypse that so many children face. It is the realization that the person who gave you life is also the person who is slowly draining the life out of you. It is the realization that your tears are not a signal for them to comfort you. Your tears are the applause that they have been waiting for. The scariest question of all is not why she did it. The scariest question is what happens to a human brain when it is raised in a cage where love is just a trap door waiting to open. To understand the damage this doesn't, to understand how to escape it, we have to dive into the frozen heart of the narcissist. We have to look at the neuroscience of empathy and the terrifying absence of it. To understand why a mother would cook her child's pet and laugh about it, we have to perform an autopsy on the narcissistic mind. The core defect at play here is a catastrophic failure of what psychologists call cognitive empathy versus emotional empathy. Most human beings possess both. Cognitive empathy is the ability to intellectually understand what another person is feeling. Emotional empathy is the ability to actually feel the pain in your own body. When you see someone smash their finger in a door, you wince because your mirror neurons fire and simulate the pain. But the narcissist has a severed connection in this circuit. They have high cognitive empathy, which allows them to manipulate you because they know exactly what hurts you. But they have zero emotional empathy, which means they can watch you scream and feel absolutely nothing but a mild curiosity or even pleasure. This mother knew exactly how much the chicken meant to her children. She knew because she watched them feed it and walk it and cuddle it for months. Her cognitive empathy allowed her to calculate the precise moment to strike for maximum emotional impact. She chose to do it when they were defenseless at school. She chose to serve it to them as food to add a layer of visceral horror to the psychological betrayal. But her lack of emotional empathy meant that their tears did not trigger a caregiving response. Instead, their tears triggered a dopamine response in the reward centers of her brain. This is what we call the God complex or the fantasy of omnipotence. For a person with narcissistic personality disorder, the world is a terrifyingly empty place where they constantly feel small and insignificant. To combat this deep-seated insecurity, they build a false self that is grandiose and powerful. But this false self is like a balloon that has a slow leak. It needs to be constantly inflated with attention and reaction from others. Positive attention is good, but negative attention is often more potent because it is more intense. When she made her children cry, she proved to herself that she matters. She proved that she has an impact on the world. Her inner monologue is saying, "Look at how much power I have that I can destroy your entire world with one decision." This behavior also reveals a profound adherence to extreme instrumentalisms, or what we might call to logic. In philosophy, there is a distinction between value rationality and instrumental rationality. Value rationality dictates that some things like life and love have inherent worth that cannot be measured. Instrumental rationality treats everything as a tool to achieve an end. To this mother, the chicken was never a living being with inherent value. It was a tool. First, it was a tool for entertainment, or perhaps a tool for content creation on social media. When it became inconvenient, or when she needed a new form of stimulation, it became a tool for nutrition. She stripped the animal of its subjectivity and reduced it to an object. And the terrifying part is that she does the exact same thing to her children. Her children are not subjects with their own inner lives. They are objects that exist to reflect her image back to her. When they were happy playing with the chicken, they reflected her image as a benevolent provider. When they were screaming in grief, they reflected her image as a powerful authority. In both scenarios, the children are just mirrors. This is why she could edit the video with such callous precision. She was not looking at footage of her children suffering. She was looking at footage of herself eliciting a reaction. She was the director of the movie, and they were just actors who delivered a great performance. We also have to debunk the excuse that she was trying to teach them a lesson about life or farming. Some people might argue that she was trying to emulate the Japanese philosophy of life education, where students raise animals to learn about the food chain. But this argument collapses under the slightest scrutiny. In true educational settings, like the famous Japanese school experiments, the process is democratic and solemn. The students spend months discussing the fate of the animal, and they vote on the outcome, and they process the emotions together with guidance and respect. It is a ritual of gratitude and complexity. What this mother did was a ritual of ambush and sadism. She did not give them a choice, and she did not prepare them, and she did not honor their feelings. She blindsided them. This was not education, it was an emotional drive-by shooting. This kind of parenting creates a specific type of trauma called complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or CPTSD. Unlike regular PTSD, which is caused by a single event like a car crash, CPTSD is caused by prolonged exposure to a toxic environment where there is no escape. These children are learning a terrifying lesson about the nature of love. They are learning that love is a Trojan horse. They are learning that if they love something too much, it will be taken away from them. They are learning that happiness is just a setup for a future punishment. This will likely cause them to develop an attachment style known as fearful avoidant. As adults, they will be terrified to let anyone get close to them because their nervous system remembers the chicken. They will sabotage their own relationships before the other person has a chance to hurt them. They will build walls so high that nobody can climb them, because inside the fortress they are safe even if they are lonely. The mother's behavior also mimics the psychological breaking techniques used in cults and military interrogation. In fiction and in dark reality, breaking the person often involves forcing them to destroy what they love. It is the ultimate act of domination to force a person to be complicit in their own trauma. By making the children eat the chicken, she forced them to physically internalize the murder of their friend. She made them cannibals of their own love. This creates a shameful secret that binds them to her. It creates a cognitive dissonance that fractures the mind. Child thinks, I love this animal, but I ate this animal, therefore I must be bad. The abuser escapes the blame and the victim carries the shame. This is the dark genius of the narcissistic parent. This mother probably felt a warm glow of satisfaction that night as she scrolled through the comments on her video. Even the angry comments would have fed her ego because they validated that she was important enough to cause outrage. She is an energy vampire who has found an infinite source of food in her own home. She is a mediocre person who has found a way to feel like a god. She will never understand why 20 years from now her children will stop calling her. She will sit in a nursing home and tell the nurses that her children are ungrateful. She will say, "I fed them and I clothed them and I taught them about life." She will ask the question that every toxic parent eventually asks: why are they so distant? She will never realize that the answer is floating in that pot of soup from 2 decades ago. We have walked through the darkness of the narcissistic household and witnessed the devastation of the tool logic mindset. We have seen how a parent can twist love into a weapon and use a child's innocence as fuel for their own ego. But we cannot end this story in the kitchen with the pot of soup. We have to talk about the survivors. We have to talk about the children who grow up and escape the cage and have to learn how to be human beings again. Because if you are watching this and feeling a familiar ache in your chest, it means you are one of them. It means you have survived the breaking process and now you are left with the task of gluing the pieces back together. Here are the 3 radical mental shifts that will guide you from the role of the victim to the role of the architect of your own life. The first shift is called the permission to grieve the living. One of the hardest things for a child of a narcissist to do is to accept that their parent is never going to change. You keep going back to the well hoping that this time there will be water. You think that if you achieve enough, or if you are good enough, or if you explain your feelings clearly enough, that they will finally see you. But you have to realize that the well is dry. You have to accept that the mother who laughed at your tears is not capable of giving you the love you need. She is emotionally disabled in a way that is permanent. You have to mourn the parent you deserved but never got. It is a funeral without a body. You have to cry for the little kid who just wanted to show their mama drawing and got criticized instead. You have to cry for the teenager who had their diary read out loud at the dinner table. This grief is painful, but it is the fire that burns away the false hope. Once you stop hoping for them to change, you stop giving them the power to hurt you. You realize that their cruelty is not a reflection of your worth. It is a symptom of their sickness. You are not unlovable. You were just asking a stone to bleed. The second shift is the reclamation of joy without tax. In the narcissistic home, joy always came with a price to tag. If you were happy about a toy, it could be taken away. If you were proud of an achievement, it could be belittled. So you learned to hide your happiness. You learned to suppress your excitement because excitement made you a target. You developed a gray rock personality where you tried to be as boring and unattainable as possible to avoid the predator's gaze. But now you are free and you have to teach your nervous system that it is safe to be happy. You need to practice what I call radical harmless indulgence. Go out and buy yourself the toy you wanted as a kid. Get a pet and treat it with the overwhelming kindness that you word in eyed. When you feel that spike of anxiety that says something bad is going to happen because I am happy, you need to pause and breathe through it. Tell yourself, I am safe. Nobody can take this away from me. I earned this. You are rewiring the neural pathways that associate pleasure with punishment. You are teaching your brain that the shoe is not going to drop. You are learning that you can have a chicken and nobody is going to put it in a pot. You are the adult now and you are the protector of your own joy. The third shift is the construction of the logical family. Biology is an accident, but family is a choice. The narcissist relies on the blood bond to keep you trapped. They use phrases like, but she is your mother, or family comes first, to guilt you into submission. But you have the right to fire toxic family members. You have the right to resign from the job of being their supply. You need to go out into the world and find people who possess the empathy that was missing in your childhood home. Look for friends who celebrate your wins without jealousy. Look for partners who listen to your pain without making it about themselves. When you find these people, hold on to them tight. They are your logical family. They are the people who choose you not because they own you, but because they love you. You will find that love in the real world is not a transaction. It is not a limited resource that you have to beg for. It is an abundant energy that flows freely between healthy people. You will heal the wound of the past by living a present that contradicts it. Every time you treat a friend with kindness, you are defying your programming. Every time you protect a vulnerable animal, you are breaking the cycle. The mother in that video thought she was teaching her children a lesson about power. But she inadvertently taught them a lesson about what kind of person they never want to be. She showed them the face of evil so clearly that they will spend the rest of their lives running towards the light. One day those children will grow up. They will leave that house and they will never look back. They will find a world that is bigger and kinder than the kitchen they were raised in. They will realize that they are not objects to be used. They are universes unto themselves. To the mother who ate the pet chicken, I have one final message. You may have felt powerful for a moment while you laughed at their tears, but you have purchased only old age with that meal. You have eaten your relationship with your children. When the silence finally comes for you, it will be absolute. But for the children and for everyone watching who sees themselves in those children, the door is open. The cage is unlocked. You just have to walk out and never let them make you feel small again. Your capacity to love is not your weakness. It is your superpower. And it is the one thing they could never truly take away from you.